Hi there, Menopause Barbie back. I hope you enjoyed our little field trip to Spa in Cape Town last week. It was kind of fun to peer back into my life there, wasn't it? So, you are joining me for Menopause, your management, your way, now and for the rest of your life. And to orient you where we are in the tutorial series, we've been discussing phytoestrogens for quite a few tutorials. And some of them took place in Cape Town before I moved to Buenos Aires. But that's kind of fun, don't you think? It kind of makes it more interesting. And so far what you've learned is all the science behind how phytoestrogens work, and you've also learned how much weaker phytoestrogens are than human estrogen or pharmaceutical estrogen. And after that, I demonstrated a bunch of foods, all of which contain estrogen. And I even took you to a grocery store to shop for some phytoestrogens. So today, we're continuing with phytoestrogens, but in a different form. Today, we're going to shift from foods to botanical and herbal products. So it's still all about plants. Everything's about plants, and I even have a green thumb for you today. So the goal of this tutorial is that if you want to use phytoestrogens, but you don't want to have to eat them, you can find them in the form of botanicals and herbs. So my goal for you today is to show you the botanical and herbal products that have estrogen in them. Okay? So this is tutorial number 31. And if you're following in the book, it's the material on pages 118 to 123. And if you're following along in the outline notes, it's the material on page 27. Now, do you remember when we went to the naturopathic store in tutorial number 21 and we bought all those products for menopause? Well, today I'm going to show you some of those very products, but all of the things I show you today will have estrogen. They'll be sources of estrogen. And what I'm going to do is give you detailed information on each one of them so that you know which products there are and what they do. Now, you might be wondering, I really have gone to the store and bought piles and piles of all of these botanical and herbal products for menopause. They all look at me like I'm crazy. And I use them all. I've used them as well as some pharmaceutical and bioidentical products because I'm curious. And you know, it's kind of like I'm a human lab rat for you so that you don't have to try everything. My goal is to be as well informed as I can be in order to do the best job for you. And when I try things, I get firsthand knowledge about the things that I'm teaching you. So hopefully, using myself as a lab rat will make it easier for you to figure out what's best for you. Okay, let's get started. The first product I'm going to show you is called black cohosh. Now, black cohosh is a product that women have been using for management of menopause symptoms for ages. It goes by many, many names. It goes by black snake root, rattle top, rattle squaw root, rattleweed, snake root, bugbane. And I have a big pile of stuff down here that you can't see, but one of the products that is most commonly used with black cohosh in it is called Remifemin. And here are two Remifemin formulations. One is daytime and one is nighttime. And what you're going to find is that there are a bunch of general products for menopause, just general herbal products for menopause, and almost all of them have black cohosh in them. So I have here one called estrone. I have one called Menopause Formula. There's Menopause Complex, and one called, well, of course, Menopause. I gotta have Menopause. All of those have black cohosh in them. There are many forms of black cohosh. You're gonna find it in a powdered root form, in a tea. You'll find the dry powdered extract, a fluid extract, and you'll find a tincture. I have the tincture right here. It's just a oily kind of product. Now, what do you use black cohosh for? Well, the list of uses are hot flashes, night sweats, insomnia, mood swings, PMS, depression, anxiety, and vaginal dryness. There's a caveat to using black cohosh though. It does not work if you're taking a drug called tamoxifen. Now, tamoxifen is a drug that some women use for breast cancer, and we'll be covering that down the line in the series. But you should know that if you're taking tamoxifen, it doesn't work. But if you have an estrogen-dependent cancer and you are not taking tamoxifen, you can still use black cohosh for your menopausal symptoms if that's what you choose to do. And with all the drugs I show you today, the dose is always going to vary with the formulation. So one of the very important principles is just go by the instructions on your product. The doses will vary greatly. Why? Well, because we're dealing with plants. Some of them are stronger than others. Different batches have different strengths. You will find dosages that range quite a bit. And when you see this big range, it's because the brand you get may have a very different potency than a different brand than the one you're taking. So understand the ranges are there because that's just the way that it works when it comes to herbs and botanicals. So with this Rumifemin, the way it works is you use 1 to 2 tablets a day. If you're using black cohosh as a powdered root, it's going to be 1 to 2 grams 3 times a day. With the tea, it's 1 to 2 grams 3 times a day. With the dry powder, it's 250 to 400 milligrams 3 times a day. And if you use the tincture, it's 4 milligrams, which is about 1 teaspoon 3 times a day. Now, there's a big important side effect of black cohosh, and it's important for you to realize that it enhances medications that are used for high blood pressure. So what happens is it gives you very dangerously low blood pressure. So what happens is the black cohosh lowers your blood pressure and the high blood pressure medicine lowers your blood pressure, and the two together give you very dangerously low blood pressure. And other side effects that are just, typical side effects that aren't considered severe are nausea, vomiting, dizziness, headaches, breast pain, and weight gain. Yeah, well, they say they're not severe. We all think they are when we're experiencing them. That's the list of side effects. So that's about it for black cohosh. Next I have Dong Quai. Now Dong Quai is the best known of all the herbs that have phytoestrogenic activity. And Dong Quai enhances your energy and it gives you a sense of well-being. If you look at the ingredients in most of the general menopausal herbal and botanical products, like the ones I just showed you earlier, you're going to find Dong Quai in some of them, but you're going to find more of them have black cohosh. Here is one called Herbal Female Complex. It's just capsules, and this has Dong Quai in it. And here is the tincture Dong Quai. But you'll find all sorts of forms. You'll find the raw dried herb, you'll find the root, you'll find tablets and capsules. And so you can find it in all kinds of different things. The starting dose of Dong Quai is 4.5 grams a day. But most women find that they end up needing about twice that, up to 9 grams a day, to actually relieve their symptoms of menopause. And it isn't going to work for everyone. Of course, nothing works for everyone. But it's something that a lot of people do try and do use for menopause. And there is one big side effect for Dong Quai, and that is blood thinning. So if you're going to have surgery, you have to stop your Dong Quai beforehand. And you should have the discussion about what you're taking weeks before your surgery. And you've got to tell both your surgeon and your anesthesiologist that you've been taking it. Sometimes women withhold information from their doctors when they think it's not what they want to hear. So if you're taking an herb or a botanical product and you think, oh gosh, my medical doctor isn't going to be happy with me if I tell him I'm taking that, please, please don't withhold that information. I promise you, there's nothing you can tell your doctor that they haven't heard before. I mean, we have heard everything. Nothing surprises us. So you don't want to have a problem because you've decided to withhold information. So if you're going to have surgery, stop your Dong Quai weeks in advance. Tell your doctor weeks in advance. And make sure that both the anesthesiologist and your surgeon know that you're taking Dong Quai. Otherwise, you can have a significant bleeding problem during surgery. Okay, next I have licorice root. Now, I have, for licorice root, believe it or not, chew sticks. This one comes in a chew stick. I mean, remember how when you had licorice as a kid and it was those long kind of ropey things? Well, guess what? It's actually a stick, a real stick. And I also have, let's see, 2 forms of capsules here. Both of these are just regular capsules. And you know, a capsule is, I mean, it looks like a capsule. And then I have the tincture right here. Okay, so what about licorice root? Licorice root has both hormonal and non-hormonal uses. For menopause, with hormonal uses, it balances your estrogen to progesterone ratio. And more generally than the hormonal uses, it protects against cancers and it reduces fatigue. The dose of licorice root is a 1/4 teaspoon of the solid extract once or twice a day. And I'm sorry, but I cannot tell you how many of these chew sticks you're supposed to chew. I mean, look at this bag. This is a bag full of chew sticks. I mean, I don't know. Maybe you're supposed to chew half the bag. I don't know. The big side effect with licorice root is that it increases your blood pressure. And it increases your blood pressure so much that if you use licorice root, you absolutely have to monitor your blood pressure regularly, daily. Okay, what's next? Next we have St. John's wort. I have here the herb. This is St. John's wort as an herb. And here I have it as a tablet. Just little tablets. These are what you'd call a pill. Can't see it from my green thumb. And I also have the tincture, covering up the label for you, but that's the tincture. Okay, so St. John's wort. Well, what do you need to know about St. John's wort? Well, here's the deal. It's an antidepressant. And the ingredient that makes it an antidepressant is hypericin. So when you think about St. John's wort, you want to look for how much hypericin there is in the formulation that you're taking. The hypericin dose you want to shoot for is 0.2 to 1 milligram once or twice a day. Now see, that's a big range. 0.2 to 1, it depends on the preparation you're taking. Usually it's about 2 to 4 grams of the product, but like I said, all of these products are going to vary greatly because they aren't regulated the way FDA approved and tested pharmaceutical products are. Now, the side effect of St. John's wort is blood thinning. It can thin your blood severely and it can cause severe bleeding during surgery. You know, this is a common scenario. You know, women will take these drugs, St. John's wort, go have surgery, and as we're operating, there's all this bleeding. And we can't figure out why there's all this bleeding. No one knows that she's on St. John's wort. So please don't let that be you. Please make sure that you warn all of your doctors that you've taken St. John's wort. Stop it well ahead of time, and don't let the terrible bleeding scenario be your story, because believe me, it does happen. What's next? We have valerian. Valerian, here it is in the herb, and here I have it in the form of a root. Look at these. These are valerian roots. They look a lot like little globs of dirt, actually. Like they look like they just came out of the ground to me. And then here it is as a capsule. Valerian is used for managing insomnia. And what it does is it shortens the time it takes you to fall asleep, and it also improves the quality of your sleep. The typical dose is 1 to 2 capsules at night, or 2 to 3 grams once or twice a day. And there is one big no-no to using valerian, and that is liver disease. If you have cirrhosis, hepatitis, or any problems with your liver, do not take valerian. But it's easy to find valerian. You can find it in isolated form, and you'll find it in a lot of these, menopause products, because it's one of the things that is commonly included in any of the products that are marketed for menopause. Next, we have hops. And hops, you might be saying, isn't what they used to make beer? Yes, it is. So now you might be wondering, can you just drink a lot of beer to manage your menopause? Well, yes, you can drink a lot of beer, but it is not going to help you manage your menopause. It will help you gain a lot of weight though. I promise that. It'll help you gain a ton of weight. Okay, so some examples of hops. I have here for you the herb. I have a product called Chill Food tablets, and these are tablets, and there's hops and passion flower and a few other things in there. The hops is the major ingredient. And then here is something called Menopause Care. These are capsules, and they have a high quantity of hops in them. Now, hops is one of the six highest estrogen binding botanical substances around, and it helps menopause by improving most of the symptoms, especially insomnia. And the other thing that hops does is it decreases your risk for heart attacks and for osteoporosis. Let's see, the typical dose is about 0.5 gram daily, but if you're using it for insomnia, you might have to double that. Oh, and you should not use hops if you have an estrogen-dependent breast cancer or if you have depression. Next, we have Motherwort. Now, Motherwort is something that people have been using for menopause for a long time, but there's no proven benefit that it does anything for menopause. But on the other hand, there are no health hazards with Motherwort either. So the typical dose would be 4 to 5 grams of the herb a day, or if you were to use an infusion, it'd be 2 to 4 grams 3 times a day. With the liquid extract, it'd be 2 to 4 milliliters of the extract 3 times a day. And if you use the tincture, it's 2 to 6 milligrams every day. Big ranges again. Now, there's one I couldn't find for you, and it's called Joyful Change. I wish I had looked for it while we were living in Malaysia, but I didn't, and I don't have it for you. But Joyful Change contains a bunch of different herbs, and they're useful in combination for menopause. And it's marketed for alleviating irregular periods, hot flashes, insomnia, and vaginal dryness. Oh, but even though I couldn't find Joyful Change, I was shocked when I did find this one. This one is called, get this name, Chai Hu Long Gu Muli Wang. And if you hadn't guessed, it's a Chinese remedy. Well, look at this though. It is a bunch of little black balls. See those little black balls? Aren't they cool? I don't know, just something about the little black balls kind of interested me. So this Chai Hu Long Gu Muli Wang is a combination of herbs that improve insomnia and mood swings. And the big benefit of this one is that it's safe to use indefinitely. You can use this one over the long term without any ill effects. And then there are isoflavones. Do you remember isoflavones? Isoflavones are soy or red clover derivatives. I taught you this many tutorials ago. And when I presented isoflavones to you before, you saw them in the form of foods, mostly soy foods. And so today I'm showing you isoflavones in the form of herbs. So here we have isoflavone soya oil, and here it is in some tablets called Promensul, and here it is in a product called Hormone Replacement. And here's one called Estrofactors. It comes in a lot of different things, you know. These are capsules here, and this one's called Menopause Vital. And I even found it as a vaginal gel. These are little vaginal gel dispensers. So each one of these is a 5 milliliter container of vaginal gel. So you can find isoflavones in all sorts of ways and forms, and I even found this one. Look at this one. This one's called Isoflavonas. I found it here in Buenos Aires. So it's phytoestrogen in Spanish. See how fun that is to find things in different countries that are exactly like the things you find in the US. And if you prefer the red clover as an isoflavone instead of the actual soy, we have that too. Here is red clover capsules, and here it is as a tincture. You can find all of this stuff. It's everywhere. You'll notice that I've shown you all sorts of brands. And that's because I'm not partial to anything. I mean, I like girly stuff and being feminine and all that stuff. But when it comes to all these products for menopause, I'm not partial, I'm not biased. Throughout this tutorial series, I'm going to be showing you all kinds of brands, all kinds of products, and you can pick and choose whatever you want. What I've given you today is individual herbs and botanicals that have estrogen in them. And as you might expect, now that you know me pretty well, I have made a chart to summarize what I've told you. You can find it in the descriptive text portion of this video or on my website, which is menopausebarbie.me. Menopause Barbie, that's me, M-E. And it's not in the book or the outline notes. So look in the text portion of the video or my website. And here's the chart. Here's what it looks like. And as you look around for products, you're undoubtedly going to find all sorts of products with various names that are marketed for general management of menopause. I showed you several of them today, and what I want you to realize is that many of them have the names menopause or estrogen in them, and most of them are going to contain a variety of these individual herbs and botanicals that I showed you today. So when you look at one of those products, be sure you read the ingredients. You need to know what's in them. And you need to pay attention to the side effects that I gave you and the precautions about each of these products so that you know what's in them and you know what to look for. You remember, just because you can get these over the counter without a prescription doesn't mean they have no side effects. It doesn't mean there are certain people who shouldn't take them. And please, please remember to inform your doctors about any herbs, botanicals you take. Even if you don't think your doctor is going to agree with your decision to take them, please be sure to tell them that you're taking them. Make sure they document that, okay? And remember that when you use these products, it's going to take longer for them to have an effect on your menopausal symptoms, okay? These are extremely low-dose estrogens. They are phytoestrogens. Okay, that pretty much does it for today. Next time, I'm going to discuss bioidentical estrogens with you. So until I see you then, bye!